Founder of School of Grit, Brad Ritter is my guest today. Brad not only is the founder of School of Grit, but he's also an author. A book has the same exact title. We are so excited to bring him on today and have a little bit of a leadership lesson. So without further ado, Brad Ritter, thank you so much for joining us on the Fitness Business Podcast.
Thanks, Dory. It's a pleasure to be here. Been looking forward to this one.
Oh, good, 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 good. Well, we're always excited to have our guests on each and every week. And your episode, I have a feeling, is just going to be absolutely fantastic with a lot of great learning points and aha moments as well. So, you're the founder of School of Grit. Now, before we talk about grit, I really would like for you to open up about Kokoro Camp, which is Seal Fit's infamous camp. I'm dying to hear all about it. So go ahead.
Yeah, so Kokoro Camp is designed after Navy SEAL Hell Week, which I'm not too sure if your listeners know what that involves. But when Navy SEALs go to training, they go through something called BUDS, which stands for Basic Underwater Demolition SEAL. And inside of that, there's something called Hell Week, which I think about 6 days with pretty much zero sleep and just constant movement. It is the absolute beat down and gut check. And what they're trying to find is they're trying to find who's worthy enough that they can then teach the tactical skills to go on and become a SEAL and join a team. So I did not want to be a Navy SEAL. Okay, so throw that out the window. But I was always impressed with just their mental toughness and fortitude and emotional resiliency. And when I saw this camp and how it was available to civilians, I said, I need some of that. I need some of that in my life. And I'm 43, but at the time I was in my early 30s, and I was kind of going through, I call it like a man in the mirror type moment, where I just started really questioning myself, like, what am I here to do? What's my passion? Because life up until that point had really been kind of easy. I'm just a big fan of, or around the idea that life's gotten pretty comfortable for a lot of us. We live in the most comfortable generation ever. And some of us just lost that joy for hard work and putting ourselves purposely into adversity. So that's why I went to Kokoro Camp.
Well, that is awesome. And I want to be a Navy SEAL in my next life. I think, I know they say that it's not a badass life, but they sure do a good job at making it look like a badass life. So
They make it look pretty cool, that's for sure.
but I know, especially during post 9/11, it wasn't. So I
Yeah.
don't want to make a joke out of it because they have a hard job and a very respectful job. And I'm sure we're all very, very grateful for what they do. But super cool on Kokoro Camp. I have to look into that. Maybe I'll sign myself up. Maybe I'll make that my next year's New Year's resolution.
Yeah, do it. I'll help train you.
Perfect. I'll probably be the oldest one there, but maybe, hey, what the heck?
I was so at the time I was 35 and I was the second to oldest, and they called me Gramps. That was my nickname.
They're
They
gonna
don't hold back.
they're gonna call me great grandma is what they'll call me. All right, let's get into the definition of grit. Go
Let's do
ahead.
it. All right. So, there's lots of definitions of grit. Grit's kind of like one of those words. I think if you talk to someone, you talk to 10 people, you're gonna have 10 different definitions of it. Angela Duckworth, a lady that I've followed for a long time, she wrote the book Grit. She's the one that really got me thinking about grit. Her definition is the power of and passion of long-term perseverance. And I've since gone on and kind of made my own over the last couple years. So I like to define grit kind of in 4 parts. So hold on here. There's a reason for this, but I call it grit to me is uncommon perseverance in the face of adversity, backed by a strong why to achieve a worthy goal. So I'll say it one more time because I know I said a mouthful. So it's uncommon perseverance in the face of adversity, backed by a strong why to achieve a worthy goal.
That's your definition of grit.
That's my definition of grit.
I like it. Now, I can't help but notice as we're doing the interview, and I know our FBP family can't see, but I see I have that book back there on the shelf. I'd like to know which came first, the book or the online platform?
The book came first. Yep. That book took me. That book was the definition of grit to me. It took me 5 years from idea to finally publishing, and it was blood, sweat, and tears, on again, off again relationship with it. I'd write and I'd go through period weeks and months without touching it because I was done. But my why got me through that, which is in the definition. The why wasn't to become a best-selling author or anything like that. I just wanted it was a legacy exercise for my family, for my wife and kids, so that they knew some of my experiences in case anything ever happened to me. They'd have something that would outlive my lifetime. And it's kind of taken off a life of its own since then.
So, what were you doing at the time in your life when you got this idea, this brainchild that you wanted to write this book? And where did you come up with the name School of Grit?
Yes, I have a background that's different. And the why I say it's different is because typically when you listen to motivational speakers, people giving TED Talks, they've had usually a lot of adversity thrown their way, whether they were raised in a broken home, they've battled some sort of disease, let's say something bad's happened to them, they've been deployed. I didn't have any of that. I had a great childhood. I was the oldest of four. My parents are still married. We have a great family. We're all super close. I was born in the Midwest, white guy. So had a roof over my head, always had food on the table. I wasn't rich, but I knew I wasn't poor because I knew the difference. I was middle class. And, I had the daily stuff you go through with school and whatnot. But compared to a lot of people's stories, it's like, man, I actually had it pretty easy. So I just had that epiphany when I talking about that, man, the mirror moment. I knew that I hadn't pushed myself really my entire life. I didn't know what I was really made of. And I was looking to find myself for the first time. And I was looking to go to some sort of camp or crucible style experience. And that's when I saw Kokoro camp. And I'll never forget the video I saw online. Mark Devine. So he's a former Navy SEAL. He's the founder of Kokoro Camp, SEAL Fit, and Unbeatable Mind. And he's got a video out there, and he's addressing a class that's getting ready to go through 50 hours, right? Everybody shows up, they're in uniform. They know what's going to happen, but they don't know exactly what. They're about to get beat down. I mean, everybody knows it's coming. And he's looking out, and he says, "Rejoice in adversity. Rejoice in adversity. How do we grow as human beings? It's through adversity. Warriors seek out the severest of schools in order to forge their character. Welcome to the severest of schools." And man, the hair on my arm went up. I mean, I got goosebumps, and I thought this is it. I need to go there. I don't know why, and I'm gonna have a hard time explaining to my wife why she should let me go. But I know like there's gonna be transformation there, and I know I need it.
Oh, I'm excited. Sign me up. I'm telling you, I'm looking into this. So, with your background between your book, your online platform, going through the camp, which you said, really transformed you, how do you make grit a personal trait?
Yeah, I think grit's something that can be trained every day, much like working out, let's say. But grit can come in many forms. It doesn't have to just be physical. It can be mental. So, putting yourself in situations, or you're going to be in situations where people are really testing you. Maybe your emotions are coming up. So just having that grit to maybe bite your tongue instead of opening your mouth and saying something you shouldn't. So I'm just a big fan of finding different ways to practice grit. And really, to me, that's just doing something that sucks every day. And I tell that to everybody, and they're like, "Well, what do you mean?" And I'm like, "Try waking up early. Like, waking up early sucks. I don't really enjoy it. I do it all the time, but I don't enjoy it. I'd much rather sleep in, but I don't, because I know that I'm sure you follow like Jocko Willink. I love his phrase, right? Discipline equals freedom, because it's so true. If you maintain that discipline day in, day out, that's how you accomplish your goals. So
I have to tell you about Jocko there for a while, and I don't think he's doing it right now. But there for a while, literally every day, he would just post a picture on his Instagram of his watch, and it was 4:30 in the morning. And then I'd get up and do my workout. And I always kind of like start my workout at 7, and I'd quickly look at Instagram before I get started. And I'd be like, "Oh man,
yeah,
on already!" It's
yeah, he's a machine for sure.
Never miss a day. I think that's one of his phrases.
It's so true though too, because people ask me like, how often do you work out? I'm like, well, I try to work out every day, but it's not going to happen. That's why I say that. So if you shoot for every day, when life does happen, it's like, okay, cool. I didn't get it in, but that's all right. I'll get it tomorrow. You know,
4:30 in the morning.
4:30.
All right. So how do you think you build mental toughness?
Mental toughness. So I like to teach what's called the big four of mental toughness, and it starts with your breath. It's something we all do. A lot of us do it unconsciously. We're not really thinking about it. But I encourage those who might be listening to actually take stock in how you breathe. A lot of us are mouth breathers, and we actually have a nose. The nose was designed for a reason, helps filter things. So I'm just a big fan of concentrating on your breath. And in particular, next time you find yourself in a really heated conversation, let's say, or argument, check yourself and just say, am I breathing? Because I bet you 9 times out of 10, you're not breathing. You're probably holding your breath. So I like to tell people, mental toughness starts with breath. And as I like to say, if you can control your physiology, you can control your psychology. Meaning you can control that voice in your head, which leads to the second piece, and that's positivity, and just trying to find, the positive in any situation, no matter how bad it is. Just trying to find the positive correlate, because it's there if you search for it. So that's breath control, positivity. The third is visualization. So I'm a big fan of winning in the mind before setting field on the battlefield, so to speak. Although, I'm not a professional warrior, but the battlefield for me and for a lot of our viewers and listeners is life. That's our battlefield. So win that game in the morning. I encourage you to, dirt dive your day and see yourself accomplishing, just one goal, just one big goal you got that you want to do today, and see yourself actually doing it. So a big fan of visualization. And then the fourth of the big four of mental toughness that I like to teach is goal setting, which a lot of us are probably familiar with. But inside of goal setting, it's the ability to pick the right goals. Because I think especially too, with it being, part of the new year, right now we're talking to each other. I think towards, it's January 26th, but a lot of New Year's resolutions have probably started going down the wayside. That could be because maybe you chose the wrong goal. Maybe it doesn't fit your overall, purpose and things like that. And then being able to actually take a goal and chop it down into manageable chunks so that you can accomplish it. It's a good skill to have in life.
Well, when you were talking about visualization, you said a really cool phrase. You said dirt dive your day. Where'd you get that at?
It's a military term. So I have a bunch of friends that are in the Army, and then just with some of my relationships with some of the Navy SEALs, a lot of them use the same terminology. So I got it from them.
All right. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I wrote that down. Dirt dive your day.
Dirt dive your day.
Yeah.
Yeah, dirt dive your day, and then do an AAR, which is an after action review or report. So, after you have the day, okay, maybe take a journal and reflect. Okay, did I get it done? Why not? And then try not to repeat the same mistakes, the next day. That's the big important piece about doing an after action report.
Brad, great stuff. Love it. You're doing a great job. All right. Let's kind of go back a little bit, get on the topic again of grit. And I'd love to hear what you have to say about putting grit in your professional career.
Ooh, putting grit in your professional career. That's a good one. That's a really good one, because everybody's got that job, whatever that might be, whatever your jam is, and getting gritty with that. So I like to go back to the why behind it. And I know Simon Sinek wrote a book on why, which I'm not sure if any of your listeners are familiar with. Great book, but look at anything you're doing and just ask yourself why 3 to 5 times, and you're probably going to get to the root of why you're doing anything. And if you have a strong enough why, or even a few whys, because I think you're going to need a bucket of whys to get through your lifetime, not just one, because seasons change. But if that why is strong enough, it's going to help propel you to that end goal, whether it's getting through, that next hour, that next day, that next week, that next month, whatever it is you're working on in your job. So to me, it all starts with why you're doing it, why you're doing anything. asking yourself that question and getting super truthful with it. And then also realizing that it's not, everything's not going to go according to plan. All plans change. It's like what Mike Tyson say. I think he said, everybody has a plan until you get hit in the nose. So true though. So true. But if you actually take the time, a lot of us, when we're doing like business plans, let's talk business plans. We're talking about jobs. Everybody is quick to think of, okay, this is how we're going to accomplish the mission, or this is how we're going to get that next customer, or this is how we're going to, reach $40 million in sales, or whatever the number is. But if you take time to actually think about things that could go wrong, that can help alleviate anxiety. It can help you solve for problems ahead of time. So I encourage people to do that as well. Don't just think about the ways things can go right. Think about how things can go wrong as well, and solve for them ahead of time.
Well, you mentioned that job, the infamous job. Can you talk to us about mastering inner dialect in the job or in the marketplace?
Yes, I can. So that's where, to me, breathing comes into play big time, especially if you're in a, you're getting ready to speak before an audience, you're getting ready to go into that big business meeting, you're getting ready to meet with a potential sponsor, whatever. And that's when the monkey mind comes into play, right? And that monkey mind's going to throw you off your game, because there's just all these thoughts popping around your head. But you need to take that time to really control your mind. And the way you can do that is through breathing. Just slow down. Just take some time to slow down a little bit. So I'm just a big fan of breath. I know I've talked about it several times, but it truly is a difference maker if you take it seriously.
So somebody preaching about slowing down, yet you are walking on the treadmill while you are doing this interview, which makes me think you don't slow down.
I slow down when I sleep. That's what I tell my wife. They are I love what I do. They are long days though, but I love what I do, and that's what helps me get through it. But yeah, it's just constant on the go. But you know what I'm really good at doing, Dory? I'm really good at when I have to flip that switch and be dad, or I need that flip that switch and go on vacation. I'm really good at checking out, because like when I power down and go on vacation, like I'm out. Like you're not going to reach me, like phones elsewhere and all that. Just the other side of that is it's hard for me to start it back up too when I get back from vacation, because I'm used to being on island time, you know?
Well, I love the fact you are my very first guest that is walking. I think you said it's walking and talking, which I love. It's
Walking and talking.
walking and talking and podcasting. All right. Last question here. Can you build a community through tech? How and why not?
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, I'm living proof of it. The community that I have going on right now is all built through technology. So, School of Grit, it's a book, but it's also an online coaching program. And all the members I have right now, I've never met them face to face, which is kind of crazy to think about. But we got these wonderful cameras and all that. So I use Zoom, and I'm just a big proponent of when I'm on a call with someone, just being authentic, like showing up and being that real person, and not faking it. And I think that's something you can feel. Obviously, you can feel it in person, but if you do this enough times, and Dory, you may have this experience, you can feel it through video too. Like you can almost feel that person's energy on the other line. I have that happen all the time in our coaching calls. And the other part of technology that I think has been wonderful is, I believe there's safety in distance. There's safety in distance. And what I mean by that is, I can't tell you how many calls I've had, and I do small group coaching, where, someone chimes in and they get real. Like they're talking about an addiction in their family, a divorce they're going through, whatever, got fired from their job. And all it takes is one person to get real, and it's like the dominoes start falling and everybody drops their guard. And I tell you what, I've heard some of people's deepest, darkest secrets that their spouses don't even know, that their best friends don't even know. And I've never even met these people face to face. That's getting ready to change. I'm getting ready to do some live events, and I can't wait to meet up with my tribe and train with them. But I love it. I love what technology has enabled from an online coaching platform.
You talked earlier about people's why, right? You even mentioned about Simon Sinek and his whole book about finding your why. Telling our FVP family right now why they should check out the School of Grit or sign up for the School of Grit?
Yeah, so it's a place you can go. It's for men and women. And if you're looking just to become the best version of yourself and you're a good teammate, because that's what I look for, someone who likes to be on a team and you got a heart for service, you want to serve others, you want to build other people up, and you want to constantly train. And believe me, we all train together, whether we're doing physical workouts, because we do those over Zoom video, and we get deep with each other. You know, we go into those mental mountains, emotional mountains. And if you're looking for a place to train with a team, we'd love to have you.
And how long can someone expect to invest in School of Grit? Like, how long is your course?
It's monthly membership, so you stay on as long. I've got people who've been on for 2 years plus, which is when I launched this. So
You're also
yeah.
you're also a mind coach, Brad, as well.
Yeah, we touch the whole thing. So it's not just physical. I teach what's called the 5 mountains, and it's physical, mental, emotional, intuitional, and then your warrior spirit. I just start with physical because personally, I think physical is probably the easiest to train. You know, people can, if they're wanting to lose weight, they can tell that, right? They can hop on a scale. If you're wanting to get stronger, well, you can tell that, you know, by how much weight you're lifting. It's kind of hard to tell if you're becoming more mentally tough or more emotionally resilient. Though that's a little tougher to work. But yeah, we hit all that stuff. We work on mental toughness, like those big four mental toughness. We practice that. I have a breath practitioner that comes on, and we go through different breathing exercises on some of our calls, which is super cool. We go through crucial conversation exercises as part of the emotional mountain. So, you know, having that conversation with someone that you've been putting off for 2 years because you don't want to rock the boat or whatever. And what's funny is, Dory, most people would rather go run a marathon than have a crucial conversation. No joke. It happens every time. But that's how you grow as a person. It really is. So it's the whole person. That's what we're going after here, not just one capacity. Because I've met plenty of people. I've met a lot of meatheads that are just soup sandwiches and they're emotional wrecks. And then I've met a lot of 100-pound brains that I don't know if they could do anything as far as physical goes. You know what I mean? So it's like it's really training the whole person.
Do you dive deeper into the 5 mountains in your book, School of Grit?
I touch on it, but I don't go super deep. That's actually what the tribe's for. Yeah, the coaching. That's what we do. Is
Okay.
we train on the 5 mountains.
So what can our FBP family, if they go to our show notes and click on the link for your book, what can they expect to find in the pages of School of Grit?
Oh yeah, and the pages. So the book is awesome. So it's gonna talk to you a little bit about my background, just like why just a random dude would sign up to go to this Navy SEAL camp for civilians. Like why would you want to do something crazy like that? So it talks about that. But it's gonna walk you through every evolution I had to do over 50 plus hours of zero sleep, very minimal food, and I just got pushed to the limit physically, mentally, emotionally, broke down several times. But that's the unique thing about this camp. With real SEAL training, they want to get you out. They want you to quit. That's their job. They want as many people to quit as possible. They're looking for, out of 200, they're looking for like the 15 that's going to last. They can train up. That's where this camp's different. People will quit on their own, but in those moments when you're about to break, they come alongside you and they teach you the tools and tactics to persevere. And that's what you're going to get in the book. So I'm going to take you through. It's like part adventure because I'm taking you along with me of what I'm getting asked to do. And then it's emotional because I'm telling you about what's going through my head. I talk about my why. There were several moments when I broke down. And then it also shows you what the SEALs taught me, why we did the evolution. And then I have a section at the end of every chapter called Pack Your Rucksack, which a ruck is a military term. It's a big backpack that you throw all your gear and stuff in. I give you those tools and tactics and how to apply them to everyday life in the eyes of being a parent, being a coworker, being an entrepreneur. So it's got a little something for everybody.
It does have a little something for everybody. So FBP family, I highly encourage you to not only check out the online version of School of Grit, but also pick up a copy of Brad Ritter's book, School of Grit. And sounds like there's absolutely 100% chance that you're going to walk away with something positive. So Brad, thank you so much for coming on today to the Fitness Business Podcast and sharing, your story, your journey, and also just to kind of invite all of our listeners to the School of Grit. I think it would be beneficial for them. Check it out.
Thanks, Dory.
Okay, that's done. Great
All
job.
right. Awesome. Thank you.
Brad, I would love for you to give your top 3 tips to optimize your life.
Just 3. All right. Here we go. I would say number 1 is wake up early. Wake up a little bit earlier than you do now and use that time for you, whatever that is, whether it's working out, reading, drinking some water, stretching, whatever you got to do. But wake up a little earlier in the day and spend that time on you. Number 2 is I want you to get uncomfortable. So I want you to do something that is uncomfortable, but it's going to make you better. Could be speaking, could be volunteering to lead a certain project, but I want people to really start gravitating towards adversity instead of running away from it. And then the third thing I would say is find a way to serve people. We got enough takers in this world, but just find a way to serve other people. And I guarantee you, because I'm living proof, it will come back around. That's not the reason we do it, but it's just amazing what happens when you put a lot of good vibes out there in the world. So there you go, Dory.
Okay, that's a wrap. We're done.
Boom.
Great job, Brad. And you never once sounded out of breath.
I've been practicing breathing on a treadmill for a few years. We're good.
Oh, that's so great. Minimal editing. Thank you. I made, I think, a mistake in the beginning. I'll make some notes and we'll get that cleaned up. But yeah, thank you. Minimal editing. No odd noises going off.
Oh, good.